James Twin for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable true school sports empire, and y'all know the rest, man. Now listen, it is in fact Stephen Fulton versus Brandon Figueroa, the rematch. It's fight week for that. They're going to be fighting on the Benavidez Morel undercard. And to be fair, like Benavidez Morel is a great fight, and I think this is an amazing card. But to me, in my eyes, Figueroa versus Fulton is the real main event because I'm a big fan of the featherweight division, right? And you know, it's a big fight for the division. It's a big fight for boxing. It's a rivalry fight. If you're a fan of Naoya Monster Inoue, it's a fight that you should be paying attention to because the winner of this fight could be a potential opponent when he inevitably steps up into the featherweight division. So that being said, I had a tweet recently, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, go follow me at True School Sports. I've been getting a lot more active on there, but I gotta calm down because I'll be crashing out on there sometimes. And because Twitter, I don't take Twitter serious, to be honest with you. It's like the least serious I take any social media platform. So you may see me crash out and say crazy things from time to time. But nonetheless, I had a tweet on there, and I pretty much stated that boxing fans, and I see it all the time, boxing fans are always complaining about the fact that they want to see the best fight the best. I mean, every day I go in my comment section and I'm always hearing somebody complain about this guy's ducking that guy, we want to see this guy fight that guy, and we want to see the best fight the best. But then when the fighters do that and they take a tough loss, they oftentimes get cast to the wayside, and they get incredibly disrespected by the fans. And they get, a lot of times they don't get a chance to really build their career back up properly. You know, sometimes the promoters put them on the shelves. You know, they can't get the right fights anymore to build their career back to where it was before the loss. So that's why in boxing, the managers, the handlers, and things like that, they got to be very, very cautious with how they move these guys because a loss in this sport can be very unforgiving. And I think the best example of what I'm talking about can be exactly how Stephen Fulton has been treated since his loss to the Monster. Stephen Fulton, to me, is actually what people say they want fighters to do. They always say they want fighters to fight the best, and this guy has fought tons of extreme amounts of top competition. He's fought Inoue, he's fought Anzoleo, he's fought Brandon Figueroa, he's fighting Brandon Figueroa again. He fought Carlos Castro, who's a tough guy to come out fight on coming off of a layoff. He fought Carlos Castro, who's a contender. He fought Adam Lopez, who was undefeated and a good prospect at the time. He fought Danny Armand, former world champion. I mean, he has a very, very deep resume. And in my humble opinion, if we're talking about just the PBC fighters, I think he's one of the top 3 greatest fighters in the PBC. I would say like Keith Thurman or Sean Porter, they're like interchangeable at 1 and 2, and then he's definitely the next after those guys. To me, nobody's resume has more substance than what Stephen Fulton's done that's fought on PBC. So how has he been treated since the Inoue fight? A lot of people might say, like, what are you talking about, BT? How has he been treated? Well, he got put on the prelims. Let's start there. He went to Japan and fought in the mega fight. And he has a lot of Japanese support. I can tell you guys from being here in Japan and talking to plenty of fans in the Japanese boxing community and in the gyms in Japan, that I can assure you Stephen Fulton has a lot of support here. Definitely more support than he has in the States. So imagine how that makes Stephen Fulton feel inside. You go to Japan, you get your ass whooped, right? You lose, and you get more fans from losing in Japan than you do from winning when he was winning in America. So I feel like when I watch him in his interviews these days, the game has soured Stephen Fulton. You don't get that like fun-loving guy anymore. You used to get interviews. You get like a guy that's been soured by the game. And listen, all I'm saying is this. This is the main idea of this video. If you don't take nothing else from this video, please take this. If the best fight in the best was really like at the top of everyone's priority list, if it really mattered, like everyone says it does, Stephen Fulton would be one of the most respected fighters in America. But what's reality? The reality is Stephen Fulton has been called a bum, a hype job, a fraud. Before he even fought Inoue, I remember before he fought Inoue, I was saying that he should have already been on the lower parts of the pound for pound list, like around 10 or 9, because I just felt like, you know what, he's doing what people say they want to do, taking these tough fights against like real competition, and pretty much all his wins have aged well. Almost all of them have aged well. He's taking he's taking on tough competition, fighting them, you know, when they're close to or, you know, near their prime, while they're undefeated, and he's not getting the credit he deserves. Like I remember before he fought Inoue, I vividly remember Stephen Fulton not being on the pound-for-pound list, and like Errol Spence, who was barely boxing at the time, barely fighting. And then when he was fighting, apart from Ugas, you know, he wasn't lighting the world on fire. He was getting all this praise as some sort of top 5 pound-for-pound guy. And truth be told, and this might be a hot take. Here's a hot take for you guys. Everyone was dick riding Errol Spence about how great he was, right? Stephen Fulton has had a better career than Errol Spence. Yes. Stephen Fulton has had a better career than Errol Spence. He took tougher fights than Errol Spence, and he ducked way less competition than Errol Spence. I mean, look, Stephen Fulton took, what, a year and some change to get back in the ring when he fought Carlos Castro? Errol Spence has not fought at all since the Crawford fight, and we're still talking about, we're talking about longer amount of time than Stephen Fulton, because they both fought in the same month, I believe, that same week. So I think Stephen Fulton is probably one of the most underrated fighters from America. And yeah, I'm rooting for him to beat Brandon Figueroa, because I feel like if he could beat Brandon Figueroa in the rematch, which I think he can, and I'm going to do a breakdown on that fight and tell you guys what I see from both sides before the fight happens. But I think he can beat Brandon Figueroa, because Brandon Figueroa, you know, he's really good at what he does. He relies on his volume and his size, but there's some things he's never corrected that Fulton can exploit to a greater degree in this fight. And I think people are being very harsh and unfair with how he performed against Castro, because I thought apart from the knockdown, he pretty much, he clearly won the fight. Well, to me, he won the fight like 6 rounds, probably 7 rounds to 3, right? So I barely had him winning because of the knockdown. It makes it really tight and close. But yeah, every time I see someone criticize Stephen Fulton, it makes me not believe that boxing fans want to see the best fight the best. I think that's a line that a lot of, I'm not going to say all boxing fans, but I think boxing fans used to love to use that line when they don't get what they want. Like, if there's a big fight that they want to see and they don't get it, they say, oh, we want to see the best fight the best. But then when I see fighters who do that, like, okay, Stephen Fulton's a great example. He's probably the best example I could give of that. But look at like George Kambosos Jr. as well. Like, you could say he's a limited fighter and he's not that good, and he was a one-hit wonder against Teofimo Lopez in big fights. Okay, that might be true. But one thing you can't say about George, don't duck no smoke. George just fought top competition. He fought Mickey Bay and Lee Selby before he fought Tio, right? 2 former world champions. Then he fought Tio, beat him. Then he fought Devin Haney twice. Then he fought Maxie Hughes, who was pretty good. I thought he lost that fight too and got a gift. And then he fought Lomachenko. So does he get, like, is George Kambosos Jr. getting all this universal respect from boxing fans? No. I go on Twitter and I hear people say that George Kambosos Jr. is not that good, and they think he's a C-class fighter and he's a bum and all this stuff. So what people say they want and what reality is are 2 different things. And I just think, like, people need to reevaluate what they say that is that they want in boxing, because if that were true, then a lot of these fighters would be getting more respect, you know. And Stephen Fulton is one of those guys. Now I'll leave it at that. Shout out to Stephen Fulton, one of the few fighters that I think does America proud. I think one of the few fighters that embodies what it means to be an American fighter, you know, because he don't really duck no smoke. He takes tough fights. He actually believes in himself. Like, I see everybody on Twitter, a lot of people on Twitter, dick riding guys like Shakur Stevenson, who's very talented. I like Shakur. I'm a Shakur fan too. But like, a lot of these guys at 135 who don't even test themselves have these legions of fan base. But then the guy who takes all the tough fights has to fight on the prelims. So, do fans really want the best? Do fans really want the best to fight the best? I think some do, that actually love boxing and respect the fighters, but I think the majority don't. And it's just something they say without putting too much thought into it. So leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Ding. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you click right over here.